Welcome to HornbillTV Special Explainer. I'm Al Nguli. Never have there been in modern history instances of revenge as well documented as the bloody reprisals that Israel has mounted against its enemies, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps the most famous of these is Operation Wrath of God. We'll be talking more about this later on in this program. At least 1,200 people have been killed in Israel after the Hamas attacked Israel communities on October 7th. The number of men, women, children, soldiers, and foreigners held captive in Gaza by the Hamas terrorist organization is now believed to be about 129. Reports say that there are other people who remain unaccounted for as Israel authorities continue to identify bodies and search for human remains. The terrorist attack will forever change the course of Gaza's people and add another chapter of complexity to the Middle East question. News followers will recall that in November 2023, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had instructed the Mossad to hunt down Hamas terrorists worldwide, extending operations beyond Gaza. The Prime Minister directed the Institute for Intelligence and Special Operations, popularly known as Mossad, and which is Israel's national intelligence agency, to take action against Hamas terrorists wherever they are, even outside Gaza. And this is where most people believe we'll be witnessing a repeat of history. When the Israeli leaders said hunt down the Hamas leaders wherever they are, it means literally anywhere. Most of Hamas's top leadership lives in exile, primarily in the Gulf states of Qatar and the Lebanese capital of Beirut. But the point is, I believe he was thinking about an event that goes all the way back to the fateful day in September 1972 at the Munich Olympics in the then West Germany. For in 1972, Palestinian terrorists would commit one of the most atrocious acts that history would come to call the Munich Massacre. For on September 5th, 8 members of the Palestinian militant organization called the Black September infiltrated the Olympic Village, killed 2 members of the Israeli Olympic team, and took 9 other hostages. Eventually, 11 Israeli Olympians would be murdered by the terrorists. And there began an event that would demonstrate to the world the extent Israeli government would go to protect its people and land. Right after the Munich killing, the then Prime Minister of Israel, Golda Meir, would order what we now today know as Operation Wrath of God. Now, Operation Wrath of God was a covert assassination campaign that was carried out by Israel to avenge the kidnapping and murder of 11 Israeli athletes during that Olympics. According to available records, the operation lasted for more than 20 years, with the Mossad death squads traveling around the world, hunting down Palestinian terrorist leaders who were linked with the massacre way back in 72. The operation would see Mossad agents eliminating leaders and collaborators, including, of course, an innocent person who was mistaken to be one of the Palestinian terrorists, one by one. The assassination of the Hamas deputy leader Salha AlArari in an airstrike in Beirut on Tuesday was the highest profile attack on the terror group. And by the looks of how Israel has operated in the past and how it retaliates against attacks on its people and land, AlArari's assassination might not be the last. On 2nd January 2024, Salha AlArari, the deputy leader of the Hamas, was killed in an Israeli strike on an office in the Dawah neighborhood of Beirut in Lebanon. The strike also killed 6 other individuals, including additional high-ranking Hamas militants. AlArari was the deputy leader of the Hamas's political bureau and allegedly one of the architects of the 2023 Hamas-led attack on Israel. He was also said to be responsible for the expansion of the Hamas's activities in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, including attacks on Israelis. Israel has not confirmed it was responsible for the strike which killed AlArari, but the chief of the Mossad, David Barney, hinted that Israel was behind the assassination, as is widely believed in Israel and across the Middle East. On Wednesday, at the funeral of the former Mossad director Zamir, the Mossad chief David Barney issued this cold statement. He said, "Let every Arab mother know that if her son took part in the massacre of October 7th, he signed his own death warrant." Coincidentally, Zamir, who ran the intelligence agency in the 1970s, was the same person who oversaw the Operation Wrath of God, which tracked down and killed Palestinian terrorists linked to the Munich Massacre at the Munich Olympics of 1972. David Barney said further, he said this, "Today, Israel is in the middle of a war. The Mossad today, like 50 years ago, must hold to account the murderers who invaded the Gaza border area on October 7th, the planners, and those who sent them." That was what he said. That was a statement and an assurance and a promise that Israel will exact revenge in this regard. Now, for Israel, who desires revenge, the real war has begun with the elimination of the Hamas leader AlArari. Now, other Hamas leaders are in Israel's crosshairs. They are the top ones. Let's have a look at 6 Hamas leaders who would be at the top of Israel's hit list. The foremost of them all is Yasser Sinir. Sinir is Hamas's leader in the Gaza Strip. He's atop there in Gaza. He is allegedly the overall mastermind of the October 7 massacre of 1,200 Israelis in communities near the Gaza Strip. Sinir, 61 years old, has been Gaza's strongman since 2017. In his youth, Sinir founded the Hamas's Majid squads, which hunted and killed Palestinians who were suspected of collaborating with Israel. Now, Sinir personally, reportedly, is said to have killed 12 persons on his own, while serving 4 life sentences for killing 4 Palestinian collaborators. Interestingly, Israeli doctors diagnosed and removed a cancerous tumor in his head. It was actually Israeli doctors who saved him. In 2011, Sinir was among the 1,027 security prisoners who were freed in the Gilad Shalit prisoner swap. Acquaintances describe Sinir as someone who is obsessed with Israel. He's an Egyptian official also told the Tasbit press service that Sinir's elimination would pave the way for the end of the war. Another target is Ismail Hani. He is the head of the Hamas's Politburo and is nominally the terror group's supreme leader. In his youth, Hani worked as a plasterer in Israel and later became the personal assistant of the Hamas founder and spiritual leader Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. He was also active in student councils. Hani and dozens of other Hamas leaders were deported to Lebanon in 1992, but they all returned to Israel a year and a half later. The 60-year-old Hani is a billionaire, and his family is said to own dozens of real estate properties in Gaza. Now, under Hani's leadership, the organization Hamas became deeply aligned with Iran. He often moves between Qatar and Turkey. That's what reports say. The next on Israel's hit list is Mohammed Deif. Mohammed Deif heads the Hamas's military forces. His real family name is said to be Masri, but he is known as Deif, which in Arabic means guest, a reference to his life on the run. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Deif masterminded numerous suicide bombing attacks. Then he moved on to oversee Hamas's rocket attacks and tunnel warfare. He then helped plan and gave final approval to the October 7 attacks. That's what the report says. Mohammed Deif, 61 years old, was at the top of Israel's most wanted list, and he is said to have survived about 7 Israeli assassination attempts. Even by Hamas standards, Deif operates secretly, delivering messages through a spokesperson. That's what the report said. The next on the list is Hazem Jabin, one of the longest serving members of the Hamas. He was Salha AlArari's deputy and is the terror group's key financier. Jabin started off helping establish the Hamas's first terror cells in Judea and the Samaria regions. He also recruited many of Hamas's now senior figures in the leadership. Jabin's best known recruit was Yasser, who is said to be the Hamas's bomb maker, who was responsible for the death of at least 90 Israelis and was eventually assassinated by Israel in 1996. Based in Lebanon, Jabin oversees the Hamas's economic empire and financed the October 7 attacks. That's what the report said. Jabin also serves in a senior position in the construction administration that is responsible for building up the Hamas's terror capabilities in Lebanon. He maintains offices in Lebanon, Turkey, and possibly also in Qatar. Another person who is on the hit list of the Israeli government is Marwan Isa. His friends call him Commando, but he is actually Mohammed Deif's deputy and the Hamas's number 2 military figures. He is considered one of the most secretive and insidious senior officials in the Hamas organizations. In his youth, Isa was a skilled basketball player before he was arrested by Israel and the Palestinian Authority. As he climbed the ranks of the Hamas, Isa participated in a series of secret meetings in Egypt on deals for the release of Hamas prisoners. Together with Salha AlArari, Isa is said to have played a central role in the Gilad Shalit deal, making sure that Hamas prisoners were released with an eye towards the future benefit that would bring to the terror organization. The next is Mohammed Sinwar, the younger brother of Yasser Sinir, and who is the commander of the Hamas's Khan Yunis brigade. He is considered one of the key planners of the October 7 attacks. A member of the Hamas's military council, Sinwar was responsible for the construction of the largest tunnel Israeli forces ever found in Gaza, which approached the erased border crossing. The younger Sinwar has survived about 6 assassination attempts. Many believe that he will die with his brother in a tunnel in a last battle with Israeli forces. Mohammed Sinwar is seen in a video obtained by the IDF being driven through a large tunnel underneath Gaza. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, more than 22,500 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began. More than 57,000 people have been injured, and thousands more are said to be missing or presumed dead. The IDF says that it has killed some 8,000 Hamas terrorists in Gaza and another 1,000 during and immediately after the October attacks. But the way it looks now, the bigger war is to find and destroy the Hamas leadership. Thank you for watching HornbillTV. I'm Al. See you next time.